Welcome back to Classical YouTube channel, in which we emphasize more on what? On operational research, statistics, and economics. So for today's class, we shall be emphasizing more on microeconomics, and the topic is what? Is market equilibrium. We shall be solving this question on the board. We shall be solving it together. But before that, what do we understand by what? By market equilibrium. Market equilibrium means a balance between demand and supply in relation to what? To the price. In relation to a given price in the market. So that shows that there must be a balance between demand and supply to a given what? Price. Let's analyze that together. So if we are having a demand curve and a supply curve, the intersection tends to be what? Our equilibrium or equilibrium points. The intersection tends to be our equilibrium points. So in which this is the demand and this is the what? The supply. That is the point at which demand and supply intersect. We call it our what? Our equilibrium point. That is, this is my price and this is the what? The quantity. And that emphasizes more about price, the quantity demanded, and the quantity supply. A given price in the market, probably a product of 15 naira, and the quantity demanded of 100. And this explains more about equilibrium. At a given price, both the demand and supply are the same. So for every calculation, we tend to calculate the QD equals to QX. So after our calculation, we tend to have a given price. Then after that, we tend to equate the price in both the what? The quantity demanded and what? And the quantity supplied. Now, let's take the first question. Let us analyze the first question together. Let's analyze the first question together. They said that find the equilibrium price and two complementary goods, that is of two complementary goods. Of two complementary goods. Of two complementary goods. Whose demand and supply functions are. So these are the what? Are the demand and supply function. In which, from this question, we tend to solve for the price and the what? And the quantity. But there is a clause. Based on this analysis, they said the price of two complementary. And the word complementary emphasizes more under the types of demand. Complementary demand can also be called a joint demand. That is, a joint demand can also be called what? A complementary demand. Which means a particular commodity will not be effective without another. Example, a car and what? And petrol. A car will not be effective without petrol. So let's take the calculation. Let's take the calculation. From the analysis, I am having my QDX. My QDX must equals to what? QXX. But before the calculation, I can set that let X be car and let Y be what? Be petrol. Because of the analysis. Because of the analysis. And what is the analysis? A complementary goods. And a complementary goods tend to be what? A joint demand. Which is tend to be what? Car and what? And petrol. So let's say my QDX is what? Is 205 minus 2.5 px minus py must be equals to what? QXX. And QXX is what? Minus 30 plus 1.5 px. So to solve for this, the first thing to do is to what? Is to collect like times. So I get to have 205. If this this one is crossed to the other side, it's going to be what? Plus 30 equals to 1.5 px. And this is px, this is px. This one tends to move to the other side, which we have plus 2.5 px. Likewise, this one tends to be plus py. So therefore, this plus this will give me 235 equals to this plus this tends to give me 4.4 px plus p1. So therefore, the first equation tends to be 4px plus p1 equals to 235 equation 1. That's the first thing to do. So the next one is q dy equals to qxy. So what's my q dy? I'm having 147.5 minus 0.5 px minus 1.5 py. Now qxy is equals to what? Equals to minus what? 60 plus py. So the first thing to do is to also what? Collect your what? Like terms. So I tend to have 147.5. There's a value here, so which is going to be what? Plus 60 equals to py. What am I having again? This is py, this is py. So this one is minus 1.5 py. If it is crossed, it's going to be what? Plus 1.5 py. Py. Can I proceed? Let's proceed. So therefore, I am also having px. So this one is going to be plus 0.5 px. So therefore, 147.5 plus 60 will be what? 147.5 plus 60 will be
207.5.
207.5. And py. Now, if you are having an x means 1, y also means 1. So therefore, py means there is an invisible 1. So automatically this is what? 1py. So 1py plus 1.5 py will give you what?
2.5 py.
2.5 py plus 0.5 px. Now, to analyze the equation now, in order to have equation 2, what comes first here? Px. So therefore, let's px also come first. I am not changing any sign. Bring this one first. Is 0.5 px plus 2.5 px equals to 205.5. So that shows that I have determined my equation 1 and equation 2. The next thing to do is to solve equation 1 and 2 simultaneously. Now, using what? Using elimination method. To use elimination method, let's bring both of them together. I am having the first equation to be what? 4px plus py equals to 235. That's the first equation. The second one is 0.5px plus 2.5px py. This is py equals to 207.5. Now, how can we solve this? We tend to eliminate one in order to solve for the other. So let us eliminate x. That is, let us eliminate px so that we can solve for what? Py. So to do that, bring the value of this, bring it to the other side, which you have is 0.5, and bring the value of 4 to the other side, times 4. So we are using the value to what? To multiply all through. Likewise, the value of 4 to multiply all through. That's what we are planning to do now. So therefore, is 0.5 times 4 will give us 2px. That's the first thing. 1 is 0.5 times py will give me 0.5 py equals to is 0.5 times 235.
117.5.
117.5. Let's proceed. 4 times is 0.5 will give me what? 2px plus 4 times 2.5 py will give me 10 py equals to 4 times 207.5 will give me
830.
830. Now, if you have to check the equation, you will notice that we cannot eliminate like this because 2 plus 2 will give us 4. The only thing we can do is to introduce a what? A negative value so that we can what? We can eliminate. So if I have introduced a negative value, this will be 2 plus minus 2 plus minus 2p. So automatically plus times minus will be what? Will be minus. So we tend to have 2 minus what? 2, which will give us what? Is 0. That is the analysis on that. So automatically this will be what? Will be 0. Now, what about this? Do not forget that a negative value will be affected. So therefore, plus times minus will give us what? Minus. So therefore, this minus this will give me minus 9.5 py. That's the first one. A negative value to be affected with this. So this one will give me what? Minus what? 712.5. So the next thing to do is to what? Is to divide both sides by what? By 9.5 with the reciprocal of what? Of py. So to do that, negative value will cancel negative value. So therefore, py equals 712.5 divided by 9.5. So py equals to 75. So py equals to 75. Now the next thing to do is to substitute the value of py into any of the equation. So any of the equation we can use. Let us use the first equation. So we tend to have 4px plus py equals to 235. Now let's substitute the value of py into the what? Into the equation. The value of py is what? 75. So therefore 4px plus py is 75 equals to 235. So to solve for this, 4px equals to 235. This one has to cross to the other side, which will be what? Negative of 75. So 4px equals to this minus this is what?
160.
160. So therefore px equals to 160 divided by 4. Px equals to
40.
So therefore we have determined my py to be what?
75.
And my px to be what?
40.
So the next thing to do is to substitute the value of py and px into all the equation, into the main equation in order to calculate for qdx In order to calculate for QDY, QXX, and QXY, note, if you have to substitute the value of PY and PX into QDX and QXX, you tend to determine the same value. Let me take the first one. Let's take the first one. That is QDX equals to 205 minus 2.5. PX is what?
40.
Into bracket of 40 minus, what is PY? PY is what? 75. 75. So by the time you do this, by the time you do this, 205 minus this times this will give us what? So by the time you have a value, multiply this and this one will give a value minus 75. 2.5 times 40.
100.
This one will give us 100 minus 75. That means QDX equals 205 minus 100 minus 75. 205 minus 100 minus 75. 205 minus 100 minus 75
is equals to 30.
equals to 30. Now, let me solve the last one, and I'll be leaving you guys to solve for QDY and QXY. We are just trying to check whether at the rate of the price, whether QDX will be equivalent to what? QXX. That's what we are trying to check now. So this is the next equation I'll be dealing with. So you all can solve for the what? For the order. So for me to solve for this, so this is QXX. QXX equals minus 30 plus 1.5 PX. Substitute for the value. So therefore, QXX equals to minus 30 plus 1.5 into bracket. What is PX?
40.
40. Therefore, QXX equals to minus 30 plus 1.5 times 40. 1.5 times 40 will give us what?
60.
60. So therefore, minus 30 plus 60 means QDXX equals 60 minus 30. And my final answer is what?
30.
30. So that means that at price of Y and price of X, our QXX and what? Our QDX and QXX are what? Are as equivalent, which is demand and supply. The quantity is what? Our quantity is what? Is 30. And the price is what?
30.
The price of QX, the price of QDX and QXX is 40. Thank you very much. So therefore, with this, I'll be expecting my other solution on what? On price of Y. So with this, we are good to go. Thank you.